Hi, welcome. I'm Danika Deva with Be Intentional Ministries, and I'm here today with Dr. Karen Truesdell Bierman, a psychologist and a book writer and author. And today we're going to learn about her book on balance. So, welcome, Karen. Glad to have you.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. This is fun.
It is. Tell us what you do, how you do it, what's your secret to your balancing in your life? Because obviously you have this book on balance, so we're going to learn all about that today. So what's your secret and how do you balance? What do you do?
Okay, well, I am a licensed psychologist and mother of three. And a little bit after, balance became a real thing for me after I had my first baby, because it's about balancing work and family life. And that's when I became very interested in the topic and started writing and researching on the topic. And I think at this point in my life, every day is different and I can wake up and have things all mapped out. So I think my secret is having some flexibility every day. I mean, I have certain parameters in place, like I try to get enough sleep and exercise and, the meal planning and coordinating everything, but just having flexibility because things generally don't go according to plan.
Right. Yeah. Flexibility within the framework is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I have a framework and guidelines and things planned out, but having flexibility within that.
Yeah. Wonderful. So you are a psychologist. So as a psychologist, why do you think people struggle so much with balance?
I think people are pulled in so many directions. I think people have a lot of demands at work. I think they have obligations at home. I think in 2020 with virtual schooling and teleworking, like it's all happening in the same place. People could have they could be in a sandwich, with younger kids and then aging parents trying, pulled in all, and it's impossible to do everything. And then they may have, activities, hobbies, or things they do to relax, and that can turn into a stressor. So just there's so many options and so much on our plates these days.
Yeah, and then COVID threw a whole nother scenario into our life. We're already struggling with balance. We're struggling with trying to get it all in, and then you're suddenly maybe homeschooling your kids and dealing with the crisis and family members that are sick and the fear. I mean, it just added a whole nother dimension, right, to our life.
Right, absolutely. Although I do hope for people, there was a time when everything was shut down. So I hope people were able to kind of hone in, okay, this is what's important. There's a very small amount of things that are essential. I mean, now that things are opening back up in sort of a 50% version, it's reintegrating. But there was a period of time where it was very simple. You weren't really leaving the house. You were just in the house with your people.
Right. Yeah, there's some good that has come out of it. And we have to see the good in the middle of the crazy unbalanced situation, right?
Absolutely. Find the ease in the chaos. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in your practice and maybe with your family and friends, how do you help people find balance?
Well, I think there's a lot of questions to answer there. Like what are their goals? What are their parameters? What are their obligations? And then sometimes it's helpful just for people to take a really good look at how they're actually spending their time, because they might think it's happening in a certain way, but then if you keep a log for 2 weeks and you look at how you're actually spending your time, you might make some tweaks.
Yeah.
And then
so maybe some big changes.
Yeah, some really big changes, moving in the direction that corresponds with your goals and what's important to you. And it could be quality time with family. You could have certain goals, professional goals that you need to put the time into, but not to conflict with other opposing goals.
Wow. Yeah. So much input there. But hey, you're the author of your book on balance. I know you wrote this book several years ago. Is there anything that you'd say, oh, now even several years later, I really want to add this? You might go back and add it, maybe not, but do you feel like there was something missing or just something now that you've experienced that you said, I need to add this?
That is a great question. I think I probably should add a chapter, because I do want to formally publish it, on delegating and receiving help. Or just accepting the reality you can't do it all. And then, putting something in place in order to get some help. Or delegate, ask people to help.
Which you learned as you experienced your cancer situation and wrote your other book. So tell us a little bit about that, because you learned, hey, I have to accept help. I have to ask for help. I'm here suddenly struggling with a cancer diagnosis.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your journey of pink and that feeds into that.
Okay, that's a great segue. My No More Pink book about, memoir and surviving breast cancer. It was about 8 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. My boys were small, they were 4 and 7, and I needed instrumental social support, not just emotional support, but I needed people to watch my children. I needed rides to medical appointments. I needed someone in my house on the weekends that I had chemotherapy to make sure that I was okay. And I fortunately had some really good friends who were assertive and comfortable asking. And then I had to learn how to ask and communicate myself what I needed. And then I had to be able to receive. And for that, I'm really grateful. So that's the next chapter of the balance book that I learned from my cancer journey.
Yeah. And it's true. And learning to be comfortable to ask, learning to be comfortable to care. It's so easy for us to give, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you need something. Yeah, but then we feel awkward asking or needing, and like it's life. Like everybody gets sick, everybody has significant emotional events that happen. I mean, COVID has taught us to even ask and need and share toilet paper and things that we we go through. So
yes, absolutely. Because I think we are, I mean, me personally, and most people I know, and then us as in the United States, we're raised to be really independent, and then we're not connecting with people, and we are on the planet to connect and to help one another.
So what made you write the balance book? Did you feel like your life was out of balance? Did you just feel like it was because of having that third child, or was it just like, I have a dream, I want to see people more balanced in their life? What caused you to write that book?
I mean, I think having children just, I mean, especially the third, I mean, it throws a monkey wrench, everything's out of whack. So part of, on some level, it comes from what I needed, but then that's been a theme in my practice for the past 15 years, helping people find balance and peace. So both, from what I needed and what my clients have communicated to me that they needed.
And it's probably a worldwide situation. It's not just your clients. I mean, every day we see people
absolutely.
Right. They come home and watch 15 hours of TV and they're neglecting things in their life or whatever. I mean, we just, it's our human nature, maybe, I don't know.
To overdo things or underdo things. Yeah, I mean, because balance could apply to anything, not just the work-life balance, but balance of how you're spending your free time or your exercise or what you're eating or how much TV you're watching.
Yeah. It's a huge need. I hope everyone reads your book because it's a huge need.
Thank you.
So what's next on your plate? Do you have new books in the works? Do you have trainings?
I am very well. I'm on my in my member vault classroom. I'll have trainings for my pink book and for the balance book. So there'll be a worksheet or a power page and then a corresponding training for each chapter. But I'm very excited. I've been writing a book on parenting, like listening so that your kids will talk, and then just covering a lot of really sensitive topics that are difficult for us to talk to our kids about, or difficult for our kids to talk to us about, but creating a relationship, an open relationship where they can come to us. So I'll cover, puberty, sex education, bullying, school shootings. I mean, substances, all the sticky topics.
Right. That is perfect. And every parent needs that. You said in a previous interview that sometimes you would just kind of with telehealth, you just say, hey, this is uncomfortable for both of us. Normally you walk to
yes, exactly. Yeah, like talk about the elephant in the room. So with your kids, like talk about the thing that's making it, just put it out there, put a label on it, and then its power dissipates.
Yeah. Right. And even saying, hey, this might be awkward, but we're just going to talk about XYZ, I mean, just that. Yeah. And so that what you're using with your clients and even with what's happening in today's world, you can use with your kids. And if parents can just step into that role, it will be less awkward, and the kids aren't hearing it from the locker room or the bus or
they can get a lot of misinformation. Yeah, they can get real information from us as parents.
Exactly. Well, that sounds like a totally amazing book. What last minute tidbit would you like to leave with your viewers?
I think we're on the theme of communication. Just be mindful of what you want to communicate and just put it out there. I mean, wait for the right time. Don't just go throw out uncomfortable topics, but be really aware of what you want to communicate and don't be afraid. to say the thing that makes you uncomfortable.
Right. That's great. So where can people find you? Do you have a Facebook, Instagram? Do you speak
Yes,
around the nation?
Yes, I have Facebook and Instagram, Dr. Karen Truesdell on Facebook and Instagram. I have a website, a consulting website, KarenCTruesdellPhD.com, and then an email to go along with that, Karen@KarenCTruesdellPhD.com. And there's some free worksheets on my website that you can download, and take a look at. Yeah, and then of course my books on Amazon.
Right, right. And your future books will be on Amazon
Yes.
too. So
Right now, just the pink book.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking time today out of your busy schedule to have this interview. We really appreciate it. And if you don't have a copy of her book, jump over to Amazon and buy it. Join a Facebook group, find her on Instagram, send her an email message, and grab some of those worksheets because, hey, they're free and they're available. She also does consulting and coaching and many other areas that can help you in your family, in your own life, in your personal life, business life, and your spiritual life. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank
Be
you.
intentional.